This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is New York Times bestselling author and my good friend in real life, Rachel Cruz, and we are here for you. We're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. So if you have got a call about money, if you've got a call about work, career change, starting a business, side business, small business, y'all know I love to talk about that. If you've got a question about relationships, how to spend your time, it's been a real kick I've been on lately with the new book that I put out, Take Back Your Time. Regardless of what it is, we are here for you. We'd love to talk. We'd love to hear your story, hear your question, maybe give you some advice, or maybe just be a sounding board to help you process what the best move is for you. 888-825-5225. Rachel, I love when I get to host with you because this is one of those things that we were talking even off air. We are friends in real life, but we also get to work together, have our desks side by side, and host the Ramsey Show. So this is going to be fun.
Do all of this together. I know. I love it. I love it. So great. So great.
And it's Friday, y'all. It's the weekend. You got fun plans? Everybody's in a good mood on Friday. So beautiful weather here in Nashville. We are excited to hang out with you. Give us a call. 888-825-5225. We're going to kick off this hour by going to Indianapolis, Indiana with Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Hello, great. How are y'all?
Great. What's going on?
Excellent. Yes, my husband and I, we are on baby step 6 with $2,000 left to pay off the mortgage.
Wow. Awesome.
And yes, we're pretty excited. Thank you. Technically, I guess now we're probably not on 6 anymore, but I refuse to think that. Hubby had a medical emergency this year, so we now have $6,000 left to pay on the medical bill. So the dilemma that I'm having is typically, of course, we would just pay it off with the money we have on hand. But since I have an HSA, I'm trying to figure out if it's actually better for us to go through max the HSA out this year and next year so we can use the tax-free dollars instead of using the emergency fund that we have on hand.
Of what it is. How much do you guys have in your emergency fund?
So we definitely have what we consider 6 months worth. And then we also have, we actually have another fund that we have enough in there because we had a large appliance sinking fund. So we have money in there as well.
And how much do you guys make a year?
Just this past year, we got raises. So the two of us were right under 80.
Right under 80. Okay. Honestly, Rebecca, if I were in your shoes, I would, that HSA, because you guys are to the point that you're investing, you have no debt, you have an emergency fund, and you can use that HSA actually as an investment vehicle and actually be able to max it out. But what it ends up doing is it rolls into basically an investment that you can keep. So the fact that you can cash flow this medical bill, it's $6,000, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If it was $60,000, we may have a different discussion. But Rebecca, I think you guys have this in your 6-month emergency fund. Write the check and just pay it off. Pay the medical bill off, and then keep those HSA dollars in there, and to be able to use that as an investment instead of using it actually for specific medical purposes. Does that make sense?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, that was my immediate reaction. But then as I started thinking about the fact that it's tax-free dollars, I'm like, okay, is it advantageous to actually go through it the next few months to do that? Or do we just pay it and say we're done?
No, I hear you totally. And again, I think if your income was different, if the medical bills were a different amount, all of that may have changed that answer. But honestly, it's $6,000. And I would do that. And man, you're going to have your house paid off here in just like probably 2-3 months. I mean, you guys are going to be an incredible spot. So if I were you, I would use the emergency funds or the money that you have in that sinking fund. I think either one's great, and write the check and pay it off.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's so interesting too is you're in such a great position, Rebecca, to be able to do that. you worked so hard to get to baby step 6. So this is a small setback. It may feel like it, but you're in a great position to pay it. Rachel, for anyone listening right now that's going, what is she talking about HSA as an investment? Will you just explain that really briefly? Because I think a lot of people may not know what you were just describing.
Yeah. So in a health savings account, obviously you can have cash in there to use for medical purposes. But if you don't touch it and don't actually use it for medical purposes, it ends up basically flowing into an investment.
Yeah, growing
type
tax-free.
Of, yes, vehicle. And so if you work with one of our SmartVestor pros, you can use that. That's what Winston and I do. So we'll pay medical, because we're on baby step 7, we'll pay medical just out of pocket. I mean, obviously we have insurance and all of that, but we don't use we have an HSA, but we use it more for investment purposes at this point. And again, that's what I would recommend for Rebecca, because she's at that point, but not everyone is. You know, if you have an HSA and you need it for medical purposes and you're on baby steps 1, 2, 3, then that's great. Yeah, use it. That's what it's there for.
Right.
But if you don't have to touch it, then it's another great option for an investment.
Well, I think that's good to remind people of, because it's called a health savings account. The assumption, and I thought this for years, was that it could only be used for that.
Right.
And I just love that reminder, especially for those people that are in baby step 4 or after, that it can be used differently. And so if you don't have a SmartVestor Pro, if you don't have an investment professional in your corner, they can help break that down for you even further and explain why. But this is the goal, y'all, is to build wealth. And that's one more way that you do it. So I love that. Love that example. All right, let's go to Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Christian. Hey, Christian, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Great. What's going on?
Well, I'm 21 years old. I make about $5,500 a month, and I still live with my mom. I was wondering if I'm in baby step 3B. I was wondering if you guys think I should start investing in a Roth IRA, or if I should buy a house or go rent somewhere.
Well, you're doing great. What do you do for a living?
I work in the marine industry. I work on yachts.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how much do you have saved so far?
I have about $50,000 saved.
Okay.
Specifically for your down payment?
That's what I had it set aside for.
Yeah.
Was to buy a house.
Yeah.
But, I'm turning 22 soon, and I still live at home, and I think it's probably about time that I get out. But I also, with the way the market is right now, everything's just crazy expensive. My goal was to buy it this year, and then everything spiked up.
Yep, absolutely. So Christian, I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong here, and Chris, you can chime in if you disagree or agree. But a little bit of me says, yeah, I mean, if you have the money, and if you know you're going to be in this area for longer than 5 years, and real estate is something, is kind of that next step of, I'm going to invest in it, and I'm going to be here, and then you start your baby step 4 after you buy the house. I mean, that is all possible. Yes. And I think that the market obviously is higher now, and you know what you're getting yourself into. But also you're 21, and you may say, yeah, I may be in Fort Lauderdale now. I may not be in 12 months. I don't know. If you still feel like you're in a transitional season, I would rent for another year or two. It's not going to kill you, just to be a little safe. But if you know your roots are planted there and you have the cash for a 10 to 20% down payment, and that's what you want to do, I think investing in real estate's great.
Yeah, I think you consider some of those variables, because if you do decide to rent, there's no shame in that. You may learn something about yourself, living on your own, what you want in a home, just by renting for 6 months or a year. You could go either way. I could see benefits either way, but you've got yourself in a good spot, Christian. Well done.
Great job.
This is the Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Christy Wright, joined today by my good friend, fellow Ramsey personality, Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls, 888-825-5225, if you have a question about money, business, time management, or really anything you want to talk about. We are here for you at the Ramsey Show. It's Fun Friday, and we're excited to talk to you. So we're going to go to Atlanta, Georgia with Curtis. Hey, Curtis, how are you?
Hi there, good. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
So I'm currently a retail manager. I haven't been in it for very long. And I have a master's and a bachelor's degree in music performance. There's not a lot of growth or payment increase opportunities at my current job, and I'm unsure what career path I can pursue with the experience I've acquired with my degrees. So I'm looking for some career advice.
Well, let's back up a little bit. I wish Ken Coleman was on the show today. He could jump in. We could phone a friend, help him out. He has an amazing path he walks people through on getting clear. But I've learned a ton from him, and I know a bit myself about just following your passions. Let's back up a little bit. What did you want to do originally when you pursued this music degree?
Originally, I wanted to be a professor at a college for music. And I learned very quickly there's maybe 4 jobs a year with 500 people going for the same job. So then I wanted to be just a private lessons teacher, which I was doing. And then when COVID happened, I went from maybe 30 students to 5. And it was very, very evident that it's very unstable. And so I teach on the side, but I don't rely on that money anymore. If that makes sense.
Well, I totally get what happened during COVID. My question is, and you're right about things being different last year, but let me ask you this. Why have you not built it back up? Why have you not poured fuel on that fire? You know you can do it. You don't depend on it. And I get that. But I mean, going all in to build it back up to 30 students to make this a substantial business. Why have you not done that?
I think that's a great question. And I think it might just be the fear of failure. Yeah. It might be a very evident thing, but also I realized that I wanted to take the financial obligation off of my passion because I felt as I was relying on it to pay my bills, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So, yeah, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm curious, would you say that's true all the time or just during the year of when it's not stable? Meaning, let's go back to the peak of it. When you've got 30 students, you're serving them, you're adding value. Oh, by the way, you get a paycheck. You're getting paid to do this thing you love to do. Was that an issue then, or was it only when COVID hit and you started getting desperate and scared when your students were dropping off?
Yeah. So in reflection, I would see myself getting up into the lessons each day, kind of dreading it. And I had 30 students, but I didn't teach all 30 every month. There was always people dropping out, and the first thing to go is saxophone lessons when people are financially struggling. And so I didn't have my ideal client, if that makes sense. My students were whoever I could get. Where now the students I do teach are excited and into it. And I wouldn't turn away students as long as they were my ideal client going now, if that makes sense.
So if you could do that, is that what you would want to do? If you could build this business up, hypothetically, if you could build it up, you could have a full schedule, you're earning good money, you're having fun, you've got your ideal student. If you could do that again, would you want to?
I think so. But to be honest, I feel like I've lost all that passion. I even contemplated, selling my saxophone because I haven't touched it in over a year. And common thread throughout the music industry, and in terms of the academic side of things, this lack of passion. So I'm not sure if it's something I need to continue doing on the side with more stable 9-to-5 jobs, or if it's something I can pursue. I just am not hopeful that it would lend itself profitable to my savings goals and to help me get through all the baby steps.
Yeah. Curtis, I want to tell you something that I think could be at play here. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I may be off base here, but I've had several calls like this. And they all are from people that ran a business, a small business or side business in the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And because of the pandemic, they lost their clients and they had to close. And while things are open back up and we don't have the restrictions we had back then, and they could start it again, they don't. And I don't think it's because they can't, because the world is not there, the clients are not there. I think it's because they've been wounded. And Curtis, when we have a side business or small business, it's personal. Mm-hmm. It's your heart. It's you. It's your service. It's your passion. Yeah. It's your gifts that you're putting out there. And then even though it was a worldwide pandemic that caused that to slow down and stop, it still feels personal and it feels wounding. And all of us, whenever we've been wounded, we have a fight or flight response, and we want to tuck our tail and go home and go, that didn't work. Mm-hmm. I guess I wasn't cut out for that. I can't do that anymore. And Curtis, I just want to be a person that says, if you want to do this again, you can. I think if you got back into it, you would find that passion. I think if you could dust yourself off from the heartbreak you experienced last year, which was absolutely no fault of yours, I'd like to add. Yeah. If you could dust yourself off and you could get back into it, I think you might love it again. I'm not saying that's the only path for you. I'm going to actually have you stay on the line and have Jenna send you a copy of my book, Business Boutique, which is a plan to start your business if you want to look at that again, and send you a copy of Ken Coleman's new book, From Paycheck to Purpose, which is coming out in just a few weeks. And that's going to give you a very clear path for pursuing your next stage in your career. If you decide to go that route, you'll have both options at your fingertips that hopefully will give you a path for clarity, whichever route you decide to go. I just want to encourage you to consider the possibility that there is still that fire in you. You've just been hurt. You've been hurt like a lot of business owners, and we want to tuck our tail and go home. But I think those students are still out there that need you, your target market students that need what you have to offer.
Absolutely. And I think that there is, and I think that you make a great point, because it's almost like this feeling of rejection.
It is.
Right? And someone says, oh, I can't. But you take it because it's your gifting, your passion, and someone basically says no to you. Again, no fault of your own. I mean, the world shut down, all of it. But when you hear that 25 times, it does something to your spirit. Right. It does. Right. And so Curtis, I hope what Christy said just spoke life into you, that if this is in your future, that this does kind of give you this boost to say, okay, you know what? I want to try again, because I do love it. And it is something that I was really good at, and I think I could do it again, but also give you the freedom too, Curtis, that, hey, maybe even though you have a music degree and music has been part of your life, maybe there's something totally different you want to do. And that's the other aspect we're seeing so much now in 2021 is the amount of turnover that's going on all over the country. And Ken talks about this, that people are like, okay, if I'm going to jump into something new, now's the time, because it feels like everything is shifting.
What do I want to do?
Industries that, were all the way down in the ground are kind of coming back up again, or other ones have been created. I mean, there's just this feels like this whole new world out there. And so to give you permission too, Curtis, like Christy said, that, hey, maybe you kind of realize, okay, maybe that's the end. Maybe that was a season of my life, and now there's something totally different, maybe not even in the music space, that I want to pursue, and another thing that you love, and you're making money doing that too. So I think you have a lot of options, Curtis, for sure. And it is hard, and I don't know where you are financially. You said, for starting the baby steps. And so depending on your debt level, your income, your bills, I mean, all of that, there is math and finances that come into play. That is a reality. And so to kind of map that out and say, hey, maybe for 2 years, I put the music stuff aside and I just bust my butt doing something and get myself in a firm foundation financially, then maybe even the stress comes off and you're able to dream more going back into that music. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beautiful thing about life. We get choices. You get to create this life and create a life that you love, Curtis, and what you get to decide.
Yeah. And I think too, if you do spend some time reflecting on the business route or a different career route, like we're talking about, if you choose the career route, you will know you chose that because it's right, not because you're running from some type of rejection in the business. So I want you to revisit it, even if it's just to give you confidence that the career route is the right one. We're not going to run from this rejection. We're going to consider it and then make the best choice depending on what's right for you. I think you can do either, and I think you're in a good spot. And hopefully those 2 books will give you some clarity about your direction. Thanks for calling. This is The Ramsey Show. Well, if you are like most people, you feel like you never have enough time to stick with your goals. You set goals in January, they are gone by March, and by the end of the year, you're wondering where those goals went altogether. Y'all, I got to tell you, one of my favorite tools to help you stick with your goals all year long is my goal planner, and our new 2022 goal planner is here. It is available. You need to get
it
these
right here.
Yes,
I'm gonna take
for people on YouTube, open it up, the unboxing.
Y'all.
Yes, please do.
Stop it. Stop it. It's beautiful.
Here's the thing, and I don't just say this as a marketing line. They literally sell out. Rachel, they sell out.
They do. They really do.
You guys message me, and because it's dated, no, we don't order more.
No, you
we
can't.
Estimate the best that we can, the order for the year. Typically, they sell out at the beginning of January. Last year, they sold out in the beginning of December. So if you're thinking about getting this for a gift for someone, go ahead and get it. Shipping has been weird across the country. Go ahead and get it. So you have it. There's nothing weird. It'll make it by Christmas. And then you don't have to worry about them selling out. This is where you put your plans on paper on purpose. I give you guys inspirational content every single month, focusing on different areas of your life. You've got journal questions for reflection, templates to help you put this stuff into practice. And of course, you've got your monthly calendar, your weekly calendar, your to-do list. And there's even areas for you to write down how you're taking care of yourself, your family, what you're grateful for. It's very intentional, like everything we put out. Get your 2022 goal planner today at RamseySolutions.com. I promise you, they do sell out. If you want one, go ahead and get it.
I mean, these
so you don't
tabs,
miss it. So tabs,
the tabs
the
per
quotes,
month,
so
y'all,
beautiful. It really is beautiful.
It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing, and there's so much in here, Christy.
You know what's cool too?
It's so good.
This is worth pointing out because this actually relates to one of the values that I teach. Even if you set a goal in January, things may change in your life. I talk about this in my book, Take Back Your Time. So there's opportunities every single quarter. There's opportunities 3 times that year for you to check in and see if those goals are still right for you. So maybe in April you go, hey, are those goals right? Yes, I'm going to stick with them, get remotivated, or maybe they need to change. And so it's incredibly intentional. It's a great tool for you to not just manage your time, but actually stick with your goals. So get your 2022 goal planner at RamseySolutions.com. Rachel Cruz and I are here for you on Fun Friday, taking your calls, answering your questions. It's 888-825-5225. And we're going to go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with Phil. Hey, Phil, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure. What's going on?
So I'm projecting to deploy next year with the Army National Guard.
Okay.
And as a result of this deployment, I'm going to be having a pay cut and approximately $30,000. And I'm on baby step 2. So my feeling is that I should store some money away for that time for my family while I'm gone, just so there's not a drastic change in income for them. But I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say, please.
Yeah. What do you do now?
I'm a therapist, a mental health therapist.
Cool.
That's awesome. Well, Phil, thanks for your service and doing that. I have a good friend, and her brother's been out for 5 months now, out in the Middle East, and it's you guys and your families do a lot. So we want to thank you so much for your service. So you guys are on baby step 2, and you're going to be cut, and your income will go down $30,000. So how much, when you are deployed, will you be making?
I'm projecting $85,000, given it's tax-free plus BAH plus my pay grade.
Yes. Okay. And how much debt do you guys have left?
So we have just south of $40,000, and that debt is only before we started Financial Peace, we purchased a shore house, and that's what's left on that mortgage.
Oh, okay. So no other consumer debt. It's just the mortgage for the second house. Is that $40,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Well, you guys are in. I know the $40,000 obviously is a chunk, but it's not like it's tons of car payments and credit cards and all this. Overwhelming. I feel like that can be when there's multiple types of debt and all of that. You guys have really made progress, and that this is it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that there's a level of comfort considering that you're going to be gone. For your family to have a little bit more cushion than just that baby step 1. And so I'm great if you guys want to save up a little bit of kind of a smaller emergency fund. just for that. But also with 85,000, I'm encouraged by that number because I think you guys can still be chipping away at this 40,000, even though you are overseas. And we've had just so many, and it's pretty remarkable, but so many military families that will come in and do their debt-free scream, and they'll talk about that they were deployed, even when they paid off the debt, or, they were working it while their spouse was deployed, like that's a part of their story. And so seeing that and hearing that, I know it's possible for you guys to still continue on that baby step 2. And so it may give you all just a little bit peace of mind, again, because it's a very volatile situation when you're deployed, I know, or I could only imagine, I should say, to have a little bit more of savings. And I'm comfortable with you guys doing that, but I still want that intention and that intensity towards that 40 grand, because you can still be chipping away while you're still deployed.
When did you say you're going to be deployed?
So it'll be next year. Ballpark is fall. So I have about a year.
Oh, about 12 months. Okay.
On the track you're on right now, if you didn't set aside any extra for savings for what you're talking about, when could you have that 40 paid off?
I'll tell you, my wife is incredibly disciplined. She's such an amazing person, and we have 3 little girls. And we did FPU in March, and so we've paid $50,000 in debt since March.
Whoa. Okay.
I feel like you're going to get this knocked out before you're gone, Phil. Do you?
I agree, but my wife, understandably, this is our second deployment together.
Yeah.
Understandably, she's feeling it. Even though it's a year out, and I want to make her feel as comfortable as possible.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that you could do is you can just continue to chip away at this debt. Even if you want to save it up, and then once you have the 40, just put it on that, get it knocked out, and then you could save a little extra. I think you're going to get this knocked out and have some extra savings for her by the intensity that you guys have already shown. And I can't even imagine the amount of peace that's going to give her going into you being gone. You don't have that payment, and you've got a little extra cushion. You guys have done an awesome job. You can tell you're gazelle intense and you're on the same page. And gosh, it's just awesome of how you're looking out for her and considering her for her feeling good, stable, secure while you're gone. So well done.
But in 6 months, I mean, to your point, Chrissy, I'm glad you asked that, because I was thinking it's coming up like here in the next month or two. But I'm like, in 6-7 months, you guys paid off $50,000 already.
Yeah.
So I'm on board. I think that you guys can knock it out and have the money saved. But that's awesome. Absolutely incredible.
It's going to give you that peace of mind too, because you're not going to have that payment hanging over your head.
Oh yeah.
And then anything else, your emergency fund or extra savings or cushion, like we're talking about, is just bonus on top of that. And so I think that anytime you're going through a major life change, and we talked to you guys about this, whether you are expecting a baby or something's going on, maybe a health crisis, something major, yes, that should be considered in your baby steps, but often sometimes just the fear of the unknown makes us feel like we need to totally change course, and we don't. Because in your case, Phil, I think that the plan that you're on is the right plan.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the right timeline. There's not going to be any major turns. It's interesting. It's not difficult circumstances, I think, that overwhelm people. It's just the unknown. Mm-hmm. It's just the unknown. Somebody used this example for me one time, but you think about it. You come up on traffic. And if you've got somewhere to be, that can make you feel anxious, because how long am I going to be in traffic? I don't know. But if you come up on traffic and there's a construction sign that says traffic estimated wait time 7 minutes, your fear goes down. Your anxiety goes down because you go, okay, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I know exactly how long I can expect to be here. And so when you're going through a life change, it can feel like that scary unknown, but often you don't have to change courses. You don't even have to change the pace in your timeline. Sometimes it's just seeing on paper how it's going to continue to work and knowing, hey, I've just got to stay the course. I can still do this.
Yep. Staying consistent. I think that's good. And and I think that's great. I think the knowledge piece of that unknown gives you that. So whatever you can do to get that logical knowledge switch turned on helps that emotional kind of erratic fear that can play in. So that's a great point.
That's why we tell you guys to put it on paper. When you can see it on paper, on a budget, on a plan, when you can see it, you can do it. It gives you that sense of control and peace. Thanks for calling, and thanks again for your service, Phil. This is The Ramsey Show. you, right? Rachel Cruz and I are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. We're going to go to Phoenix, Arizona with Kirsten. Hey, Kirsten, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. How can Rachel and I help today?
Well, I hope you can. I am calling because I need some advice on how to get financially free from some of the mistakes that I have made. I'm a single mom. I lost my job and my home during COVID. I lost my home through a fire. And I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I currently have a new job. I'm making about $17.25 an hour. And I'm in about $100,000 in debt with student loans, car notes, credit card bills, and things like that. And I'm just wondering what I should do at this point. I thought about selling my car. I was offered $10,000 on it, and I owe about $13,000 on it. So I'm just trying to find out what I should do to help eliminate this debt. I'm really drowning right now, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, Kristen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can, hear it in your voice and obviously your story. It's really difficult. And being a mom, do you have one child?
Yeah, just one. She's 9.
Yeah. How old is she?
Yeah. 9.
She's 9. Okay. That's so great.
Yeah.
Kristen, I'll say this. What I find a lot of the times when we talk to people with really difficult situations, which I feel like we do a lot here at Ramsey Solutions, there is a loss of hope that people have. And I feel like that's a common thread that we hear when people really feel like life has just kicked them and kicked them and kicked them, and they're down and they just think, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. So I just first want to encourage you that there is hope, that even though it feels hopeless and it feels like this is going to be a never ending part of your story, this is going to end. This debt, this exhaustion, this financial instability, it is going to end, Kristen, because you know what? You have the ability to end it. You have the ability to start making choices and decisions, and we'll talk about that here in a second, to be able to have hope that your situation is going to look different. So I want you to hear that from Christy and myself, that we've heard lots of situations and some very similar to yours, and the beautiful thing is that we are able to make different choices day in and day out to put us in a different position. So I want you to, you probably don't feel it now, you may not today, but I want you to start telling yourself that you're going to be okay. You don't feel like you're going to be okay right now because it's a scary situation, but I just want you to know that there's hope. Okay, Kirsten, what you've done in your past, you're going to have to deal with, because there's dollar amounts here associated with some decisions you've made in the past. But you know what? You are going to be able to create a plan and have the ability to walk through that, where those past decisions no longer have to be the decisions you make in the present or in your future. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of discipline. Mm-hmm. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. It's going to be a journey. But we want to walk you through that and help you.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is going to help you in this process, Kirsten, and it's not going to be something that's going to flip a switch overnight, but we've got to get your income up, because you feel like you're drowning, not just because the debt is so big, but because the debt is big and the income is low right now. And so it feels like you're trying to catch a tidal wave with a teacup and you just can't. And so I want you to think about what are some things that you can do temporarily in this season, maybe a year, 2 year, 3 years, like for the short term. And maybe it's something where you take another part-time job. Maybe you work your way into a better job that pays more. Maybe it's a combination of these things. Maybe you start a business on the side. I don't know what that looks like for you, but we've got to get a bigger shovel to dig ourselves out of this mess. And that is going to give you a sense of confidence. It's going to reignite that hope where you begin to chip away at it quicker. And that momentum is going to actually fuel you making more progress, sticking with it, keeping you motivated, and so on. Right now, it feels hopeless because the progress is so small. So I want you to think about ways to do that. One of the things I would love to give you, and when we get off the phone here, if you'll stay on the line, I'll have Jenna be sure to get this to you. Let's give you a year subscription to Ramsey Plus, which is our money class, Financial Peace University. You watch these videos. It's not just going to get you fired up. It's going to show you step by step how you're going to work your way through the baby steps, how you're going to list your debts, smallest to largest, and dig yourself out of this. You can do it. And this is going to show you in depth how to do it, much more than Rachel can I can even go into, in our phone call. The other thing I'm going to have Jenna give you is a live stream ticket to our Business Boutique event. It's this coming Thursday through Saturday. It's October 14th through the 16th. And even if you don't want to start a business, what's so beautiful about this event, Kirsten, is we spend a lot of time just injecting hope in people, just talking about you can do this and you will do this, and it's going to help you push past your fear. It may even spark an idea of how you could earn some extra income on the side when your daughter is in school, after work hours, when whatever that looks like. You can get creative to find multiple sources of income. We don't have to feel trapped by this $17.25 an hour. That's not our only source of hope. You are in control of moving some levers and pushing things and getting creative and maybe a combination of these things we're talking about. So whenever we get off the phone, we'll make sure that Jenna gets you a year to Ramsey Plus to show you the money steps and the money plan, and then also a live stream ticket to the Business Boutique Conference, which you can watch all next weekend, anytime that you can. You can watch it later. We'll make sure you get set up where you can watch it later if it's during your work hours. And that might just spark an idea of how you could earn extra money to pay this debt off faster. I think those two things will give you a sense of control, reignite that hope that we're talking about, and show you step by step how you can do it. It was like what we were just talking about, Rachel. The unknown is so scary. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. When you begin to lay out this plan, when you begin to lay out this path, Kirsten, and you see how you can do it, it's going to fire you up and give you that sense of confidence and control. When you see it, you know you can do it. It may be a long road and it may be a hard road, but you can do hard things, Kirsten. You're already doing the hard things. You're tough. Hard is not scary to you. It's the unknown. You're really, really tough and you can do this. And I want to give you one word of encouragement that I feel like I need to say. My mom was a single mom, and I remember her feeling really guilty when I was growing up that she felt like she was harming me by working hard, long hours, taking me to her business back and forth. And the thing that I tell people today, as a grown woman, almost 40 years old myself, I say, I just want you guys to know I didn't make it despite the struggle. I made it because of it. I am who I am because of my mother. And your child will be who she is because of you, because of how you fought for her, how you're a fighter and survivor, and you will not give up, and you will make a way, and you are her hero even if you don't feel like it right now. You're going to get out of this. You are. You are. You can work hard. You already are. We just need to give you the steps and the plan to do it. And we're here for you. So you call us back anytime, Kirsten, okay? You call us back anytime for help, support, resources, anything we can do. We're cheering you on.
Yeah, and on the tactical money side, Kirsten, that's what's that Ramsey Plus, it's gonna help you create a budget, know exactly what bills are coming in, what cash flow you have from your paychecks, where everything's going. There will, I'm praying, have a level of control because let me ask you this: Have you ever lived just even on a monthly budget? I'll say, have you been consistent with knowing where your money's going?
I have not. No.
Yeah. So
I don't even know where to start.
And that's okay. And that's okay. And this, again, we can't deep dive into it right now on this call, but Ramsey Plus will walk you through all of that. And I'm telling you, Kirsten, those little, just even tactical things, it is going to help bring such clarity. But like Christy said, Kirsten, you're a good mom. Your net worth is not your self-worth. This does not define who you are as a woman, as a person. Your value is so huge, Kirsten, even though life has kicked you hard and I can hear it, but there's hope and you can do this.
You're going to get through it, and I can't wait to hear from you when you do. You call us back and tell us your story. I want to thank producer James Childs, associate producer Jenna Coletta, my co-host Rachel Cruz, and you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, author of the new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, and I am joined today by my very good friend, fellow Ramsey personality, Rachel Cruz. We are hanging out, answering your calls, so give us a call, 888-825-5225. Anybody that knows Rachel and I, y'all know, we love to talk. So we are here to talk to you. We'd love to hear your story, answer your question, give you some advice that may help you make a decision, or just kind of like the last call, maybe just find some hope in an area that you need it. We all need that from time to time. So give us a call, 888-825-5225. And we're going to kick this off with New York. Oh, New York, with Xavier. Let's see if I said that right. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Javier, how are you?
I'm blessed beyond measure. How are you?
Great answer. How can Rachel and I help today?
Okay, so I'm 25 years old. I guess in baby step 3, I have a little over $30,000 invested. But should I invest $13,000 into a career that I have no passion for, but would help me pursue my passion?
I have so many follow-up questions.
Keep going.
What is this career? Why does it need $13,000?
Okay, so I graduated in business management, and I've gotten job offers that pay well, $70K, $80K. But my passion is going to, because I grew up in Mexico. I was born in the U.S., but grew up in Mexico. And I like going back and giving back to them, because there's a lot of people there that are very underprivileged, are very hungry, and just it's bad. And so right now I actually work with Grubhub because it gives me the ability to just come, work as much as I can, and then go back and pretty much just give most of it away. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get into software development. I don't have a passion for it, but I know it's something that I could get a remote job for, where I could travel and with that money be able to do what I love, which is just helping others in these countries.
Well, I love your heart. I love your heart to help people. I love how you're thinking. You're very others-centered, Javier, and I think that's an amazing posture. By the way, that's not something that can be taught, and that's going to serve you really well in life, whatever you do. I will tell you, I challenge the fact that the only way that you can make good money to be able to do what you want to do is through software development. I think there's a lot of ways to make good money to be able to do what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, especially in our world now. I mean, there are more remote jobs, freelance, contract-based, online-based than ever before. What's your background in?
So in business management.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Javier, besides obviously giving to the country you grew up in a financial way, which I think is beautiful, and like Christy said, absolutely amazing. What else would you say that you love? What other things are you passionate about? I'm just trying to find a way, because yes, could you go do software development, make $80,000, change people's lives in Mexico with that $80,000? 1,000%. Absolutely. But I think a bigger win would be to make that $80,000 or more doing something that you love and is fulfilling and you're passionate about, and the creativity and the way you're gifted, all of that is coming together to make a great income to do the same thing. So that's the ultimate goal. And so my question would be, is there anything else besides, yes, you have a degree in business and all that, but is there any other career path or anything else that you just love and you're passionate about?
So I think it's just, I'm very people oriented. So I hear Ken sometimes ask like, oh, if you could wake up tomorrow and do whatever you want and not fail, it would just be something where I could inspire people, give them hope, where they're like, wow, you know what? I mean, I grew up with this atmosphere my whole life thinking that this was my future forever, but there isn't. And, you know, there is a hope. There's a future out there for me because, you know, that's where I would be like just, and I don't know what position that would be, what job position that would be.
Hey, let me tell you something really cool, Javier. What you just described is not software development. You are a people person. You are a people person. You get your energy from people. Rachel and I, we're speaking your language. We are wired just like you.
Extroverts. You all hang out, Javier. We'll all hang out.
You can do something. You can do something. You don't need to do software development. You will die a little inside every day. I can see it. Let me just give you an example as one possible avenue for you. Just one. This is not the one you have to do, but just to show you. You could absolutely make $80,000 as a business coach, inspiring people, working with people. I have women in my coaching group, the Academy, that are business coaches, that are consultants, that make well above $80,000 coaching small business people one-on-one. I coach them to coach their people. You could do that virtually. You could do it through Zoom. You could do it through a subscription model. You could do it on the road. You could do it through courses. You could have a YouTube show, a podcast. You could have a blog. There's so many ways, creative ways for you to do what you want to do, to use your gifts and talents, which you're going to be better in business when you do what you're good at and passionate about. If you're not passionate about something, people will feel it. And so I want you to brainstorm what you could do that you're excited about, that can also make good money. And, you know, Sheryl Sandberg said in her book, Lean In, some of the best career opportunities are not positions that are posted, but problems that you solve. And that thing becomes your job. And so I think that you can figure out what problem you want to solve for people. Who do you want to help? What people group here from a business standpoint, from even a freelance, standpoint that you want to serve? Or maybe there's a company. I'm not saying it can't be a company. You can make good money with a company in a business field. You might start out making less than 80, especially, when you're right out of school. You'll probably start out less than that, work your way up. There's a lot of ways to go about it. I just want to challenge you that the only way to do what you just described you wanted to do is not doing something you hate. And in fact, I think that's a bad strategy to get there because you're going to be miserable. You're not going to want to stick with it when it's hard because you're miserable. The results are going to be poor because you're miserable. And the people on the other end of your work are going to sense that you're miserable. And so we just want to help you figure out your strengths and stay in them. If you'll stay on the line, I am just being very generous with Ken Coleman's book today. I am Santa Claus with Ken Coleman's book. Stay on the line, Javier. We will have Jenna send you get you the pre-order for Ken Coleman's new book, From Paycheck to Purpose. He also has an assessment that goes along with it to help you identify what your strengths, what your passions, the results you want to get. This is literally what we're talking about with you today. You can take that assessment now, I believe, when we get you set up there. Jenna will do that. And then when the book is available in November, send you a copy of that. You follow that. He'll show you his path to figure out what you're going to do. But I guarantee you what you're going to do, what you should do, is something that you love, something you're passionate about, something that gets you excited so that you can make the impact that you want to make. I can't wait to find out what that is for you. Thanks for calling. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
And joining me today is my good friend Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls. 888-825-5225. Give us a call if you have a question about money. Of course, as always, business, how to have enough time. Maybe just a big decision you're facing and you want to run it by someone. Sometimes it's good to have a objective outside third party, and we would love to talk to you and help you think through that. 888-825-5225. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window covering. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promo codes they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal. Rules and restrictions apply.
So today's question comes from Lindsay in California. My husband and I are in baby step 2 with about $18,000 in debt. I work in elementary education in a high poverty area, so my students often go without. I can't help but buy extra shoes, extra snacks, and classroom supplies for them. Do I stop donating completely until we're in a better place financially, or should I budget a small amount for school each month? Even though we are in debt, I can't help but see how much more we have, and there's so much guilt tied to that. How do I handle this? I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. Oh, Lindsay, that is difficult because day in and day out, you're faced with a really hard issue, right? Poverty is an issue that obviously tries to be tackled from all different types of directions with all different types of thoughts and all of that. So what I want you to say is that this is an issue that has been forever, even in biblical times, right? There are elements of poverty. So I don't want you to have this savior mentality that because you feel the weight of the world, that you're not Jesus. Like, you're not going to be able just to take all the pain away. So I need you to feel that for a little bit. But also what I love so much is that these students have you in their lives because you obviously care for them. You obviously see the need. That might be very obvious some days, more so than others. And you want to fulfill that need. And I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing. And that's one part of our financial plan that I love so much that we stand on, that you give something every month. We recommend 10%, no matter where you are financially. And depending on if you're a person of faith, if you consider that the tithe, or is there something else you want to give to, but that giving is going to be part of your financial formula, even on baby step 2, even on baby step 1. So giving is part of this. So a couple of things to consider. Number one, that you can continue to give. Absolutely. And maybe you and your husband agree on maybe a certain dollar amount or a percentage every month consistently. And if this is where you're choosing to give, then that's great. I think on the season, if this is it, do it. And then I would say you're going to be in a position, though, when you are out of debt and you have, for you and your husband, an emergency fund in place, kind of what we always say, that financial foundation, to give even more, because that's what we talk about around here, is that you live like no one else. So later you can live and give like no one else. So the impact that you can make when you don't have payments and you don't have that $18,000 hanging over your head, that when your income comes in, it's not going out to debt payments. It is all yours. You're going to be able to give so much more even then, which is just a beautiful thing. So I don't want you to feel like you have to be Jesus and that you're going to save every situation. I think that it can be easy to get sucked in because you know these kids, you know their stories, and it's heartbreaking and all of that. But you're not going to save them in a sense of, being Jesus in that way. But I think you have a beautiful opportunity to help in a really, really impactful way. And I think even more than just money. Like, I think the money portion obviously is a tactical way to help that they are in need of, and of extra snacks and shoes and all of that. But you being a support system and a place that maybe they have a lot of instability at home, that you can be that stable person. There's an emotional, spiritual gift that you can also give them, that I'm sure you are, Lindsay. You sound like an incredible woman.
Yeah. And the thing that I would just encourage you, and Rachel said this, but I just want to reiterate, is just come up with a number. come up with a number that you put in your budget for that giving. Is it a percentage of your income? Is it a dollar amount? And you just say, hey, we're going to set aside this piece of our giving for this specific cause. And then what I think that's going to help you do, Lindsay, is I think it's going to help you set a goal around that, a boundary around it, define success. And I don't mean that success like you're now Jesus, but it just gives you something versus always feeling like, wow, no matter what I do, it's not enough. It doesn't make a dent. Instead, you're going, hey, let you and your spouse sit down and pray about what is the number that you feel good about. Hey, every month we want to set aside this amount of money for this specific thing, for the socks, for the snacks, for the shoes, for the supplies. And we're intentionally choosing to give that. And so on the months where it's needed and the months where it's not, you get to decide how you allocate that money for this thing that you care deeply about. And I think it's just going to put some healthy boundaries around it where it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, no matter what I do, it's never enough. But then you also get to exercise that part of your heart where you want to give. So I love that. It's a great question. And yeah, your students are lucky to have you. You sound wonderful. All right, we're going to go to, where is this? Maine with Ashley. Ashley, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. What's going on?
Good. So I have been between baby step 1 and 2 for a few years now, and I'll admit sometimes I lose my gazelle intensity, but I have a lot of like chronic medical stuff, and I have insurance, but sometimes like I just have extra bills that I have to pay for it, and I guess I'm just looking for a little encouragement or advice because I kind of hold off on medical things to be able to like get my $1,000 in the bank. And then I'm like, oh shoot, now I have to do like go to the dentist or I have to do this. And then it's like I pull from that. So then that depletes again. And then I build it back up. And then I have to like have other appointments. And I just feel like I'm just constantly stuck in between 1 and 2. And I like get out of 1 for a little bit and I'm in 2 and then I have to pull from 1 again. And I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
What's your medical condition, Ashley?
Yeah, so I have like chronic back pain, chronic neck pain. I also have like lockjaw. So I clench my teeth at night. So I have a lot of dental work that has been done and has to get redone because I clench my jaw so tight that it punctures the fillings and
I'm sorry.
All of that. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. Yeah. And like I have PTSD in my background and I've dealt with just a lot of different health struggles and anxiety and all of that. So there's counseling. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That sounds, it does sound like a lot and that's hard. So I'm sorry about that. Where are you at just in the financial aspect? How much do you make a year? What debt do you have in baby step 2? Kind of give me some numbers.
Yeah. So I have about $7,000 in debt right now, which is my car and then a couple credit cards. And usually it seems like that's just kind of where my debt lingers is in the like 6 to 10,000. That seems like it's just been constant for the last few years. I make around $24,000 a year. But I also miss a lot of work here and there. So like I'll budget, like I try to do the every dollar for the month and I'm like, okay, this is my budget, but I budget as if I'm not going to miss work. So then if I miss work,
what do you do?
It's like, oh shoot, I came up short.
What do you do?
Right now I'm just a delivery driver for an auto parts store.
Okay. All right, Ashley, a couple of things. I want you to cut up the credit cards right now. You're kind of being Ramsey-ish is what we would say. You are just kind of dabbling a little bit. You got to go all in, Ashley. You got to go all in. So you're cutting up the credit cards. You need to find another career. You need to find another job. You can make more than $24,000. I believe that. I really, really do. You need to be making more income. And those two things are going to help settle and make you truly get in this more intense mode where you are all in instead of kind of here and there. Even though it's hard, it's possible, Ashley. You can do this.
This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000. All thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
We are back, and we have got Brian and Caitlin on our debt-free stage in the lobby. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hey, thanks.
So I'm guessing this means you are debt-free.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, awesome. Well, where are you guys from?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. And how much debt did you pay off?
We paid off $175,000.
Wow.
Ooh.
What was that of? What did that consist of?
Student loans and cars.
Okay.
Awesome. And how much? What's your range of income during this time?
We started at $97,000 and flexed up to $220, and then came back down to $160. It was gazelle intense.
Yeah, it sounds like it. How long did it take you guys to pay this $175 off?
27 months.
27 months. Okay.
What
awesome.
bumped the income up? Just extra jobs? Did you do just kind of the classic, like, hey, we're gonna work overtime?
There were several promotions, and then also additional jobs for sure.
That's
awesome.
At one point I had 4.
4 jobs?
Yes.
What were you doing? I was just curious.
So my day job is that I'm a facility administrator and dietitian for a kidney company.
Okay.
And then I did online dietitian work for telehealth and an intensive care unit. And then we also did Rover. And then he had 2 jobs as well.
Y'all were
not
not
3D printing on the side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Which one was the most lucrative, brought in the most income for you guys?
Our day jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, of the side part-time jobs.
My intensive care unit job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, y'all hustled. Like, you did not sit around and wait for this to go away. Y'all got after it. You are the epitome of gazelle intense. Okay, so tell us your story. You had $175,000 in debt, student loans, car, all that. 27 months ago, what happened? What changed?
So at his previous duty station, we had just bought our house, and then I was listening to the radio and heard some guy yelling at me that if I can't afford a car without cash, then I need to ride a bike.
We have no idea who that is.
Who is that?
We were coming back from IKEA with all the furnishings in the back of the minivan, and I said, hey, listen to this guy that I heard on the radio. And the story was kind of what we thought ours was. And then we got home and actually laid out all the debt, and I printed off $1,000 increments of all our debt and stapled it all together, and it was a chain that was like 5 feet long, and it was horrifying. And we're like, okay, let's do this.
Wow, that visual, is that something that like really just imprinted it in your mind?
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, so we hung it up underneath our degrees and all of our race photos, and we just were like, okay, like we've done this, we've got degrees, we've got run marathons, like let's do this too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Caitlin, you heard I need to ride a bike. Okay, we got to get this in order. Okay, what did you say then? As the spouse, Brian, were you like, okay, you're crazy, or were you like, okay, maybe we do it?
I mean, from that day, we were both just convicted.
Okay.
Just driving home, we both decided that, this is when our life changes.
Wow.
That's awesome that you guys were on the same page so quickly.
I know.
Like,
that's a
instantly.
blessing, for sure. Do you guys have kids?
We do.
Okay, how many?
We have 2.
And how old are they?
6 and 7.
6 and 7. Okay.
Yeah.
And how were they in part of this journey?
Oh, they wanted to help us with everything. They were so excited about it too. And then he deployed 6 months before the end of the debt payoff.
Wow.
And they would sit with me in the office while I did my second job and like bring dinner in there, and we just all did this together. And then at the very end, we had a huge celebration. They did like poppers, and they were all really excited.
Yeah. Okay. So did you guys become debt free when you were deployed?
Soon after, yeah, but that was definitely the hardest part.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thanks for your service. We actually took a call from a military family in the first hour about that. He was getting deployed and walking through that people, I was like, even when they're deployed, people are still chipping away at their debt, and you guys are that. Here you are, literally standing on the stage. Oh, absolutely incredible. What service did you do overseas?
Active duty Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks again.
Amazing.
Thanks for your support.
So, sorry, can I jump in? So what was the hardest part? I mean, I would assume the deployment was a big hard part of that journey, but for you guys, was it sacrifice of lifestyle? What was kind of the rub, the hard part?
I think when we were both working 70-hour weeks, we basically just high five in the kitchen and then go do our other jobs. And then he left, and I was still working 70 hours, and he was working 80 out being deployed, and it just the work, honestly.
Yeah.
What kept you motivated through all that?
We were so close to the end, and there was times where he'd have to pick me up off the floor, and I'd be like, I'm so tired, I don't want to anymore. But then I'd do the same for him. It's nice when one of us was down and the other person could help.
Yeah. Just cheering each other on. Thankfully, nobody got down at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
You can take turns picking each other up. Who were your biggest cheerleaders other than you guys?
Most of everybody thought we were crazy, honestly. But our friend Heather, she was getting out of debt at the same time and actually ended up a month before we did. And so we had a big celebration together.
Oh, wow.
And then my previous boss, Rachel, she helped me take on the second job so that I could get out of it too, because she did that before us as well. So
amazing. So you were in the car and you listened to this guy yelling at you about the bike in the car. How did you actually get on the plan? Was it Ramsey Plus? Did you read the book? How did you work the plan or find the plan?
Just listen to the baby steps in the car,
Just the
laid it
show?
out. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen to the show, and that was it.
And
That's
then
amazing.
halfway through, we took financial piece after we were like, okay, we kind of get this, but we kind of just want to go through the whole program and see how it goes.
Well, there's such value in the show of just that regular motivation every day, but then in the class or the book to have the plan all succinct, concise, step by step. It's good to have both. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, what is the key? Everybody's listening right now that is in baby step 2. They're like, I don't know if I can do it. What for you guys was the absolute secret to getting out of debt, the key that made it work?
I'd say just keeping your eye on the prize. I mean, the amount of dedication was just extreme, but, just having that vision, being financially free, that's it.
Yeah.
And then also scheduling ice cream dates, because there's a point, he's the nerd for sure, and he's like, no, we can't do anything. Yeah. Dave says you can't go to a restaurant. And I was like, can I go get ice cream with the kids? Please. So at the end of the month, we would do that.
That's good. Have the little wins.
Yes.
You got to have the little celebrations throughout, for sure, especially with the mountain of $175,000.
Yeah.
What I love about this, obviously your income was insane because you worked insane, right? You were working 4 jobs at one point. And so the beautiful thing about this is the sacrifice was so intense, but it was for 27 months. Yeah. And it was probably the 27 longest months of your entire life.
Yes. Yep.
But you look over the scope of your life and you think, it's 2 years, and it changes completely my entire future financially of where we're at, and ultimately your entire life, because money is a tool to help create a life that we love. And now the income that you guys have, it's yours.
Yep.
It's all yours.
And that sacrifice is in the rearview mirror. I know when you were in it, it probably felt like it was going to last forever.
And ever.
But now it's behind you and you don't have a payment in the world. How does it feel? How does it feel to be standing there completely debt free?
So good.
Free.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you can have all the ice cream you want to.
That's right.
All the celebrations you guys want to. Well, y'all are amazing. Well done. You guys worked so hard. You did not sit around. You are the definition of gazelle intense, got that income up, and just heroes. Y'all are amazing. We have a copy of the legacy journey for you guys, because that's definitely the next stage in your story. We have a copy of the Total Money Makeover. You can give that to a gift. Give it to one of those people that thinks you're crazy. Maybe you will bring them into the crazy and help them start their debt-free journey. But y'all are awesome. Okay, y'all. Brian and Caitlin from Colorado Springs, Colorado, paid off $175,000 in 27 months, making a range of $97,000 to $220,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
Yes. Oh,
I love their story, because even with that mountain of debt, $175,000, which would feel like you're never going to climb out of it.
Yeah.
They just got that much more intense.
Yes.
They took on that many more jobs. They got their income up more than double, and were able to get out of it. And I just hope for any of you all listening right now that have a huge amount of debt and you're feeling like, I can't tackle this, You can. It's what you were just saying to that caller before. You can. You can make changes. You can increase your income. You can make different choices that lead to a different result. Yes, it's a short-term sacrifice, but it's oh so worth it.
Oh, so worth it. You think about those kids,
yes,
6 and 7 year old. I'm like, and their entire life is different because their parents chose to do something and not just sit there and just accept it.
That's right.
They truly, you guys were proactive and you changed your lives. It's absolutely incredible. It's an honor to talk to them.
Yes. This is why we tell you guys to get gazelle intense. It takes that. Dave Ramsey says you can wander into debt. You cannot wander out. You've got to get intense if you're going to change this thing, but you can do it. This is The Ramsey Show. Christy Wright. Joining me today is my good friend Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls. 888-825-5225, and we're going to go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with Becky. Hey, Becky, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So my question is, how do you create a budget after betrayal? I just found out 6 weeks ago that my husband has been cheating on me. He is repentant and we are both seeing counselors and trying to work through this. And last night we tried to do our budget. We have been following the Ramsey plan for a few years. We are completely debt-free, including our house. So the thing we're not in agreement on is, do we stop our investing and dip into our emergency fund, or do we keep investing and use the money that we made from selling the business? Yeah.
We got a lot going on here, Becky. What business and what money do we need to dip into for anything? Because I thought y'all were debt-free. Help us understand what specifically you're talking about.
My husband sold his business, and they got a new job because, he would have more accountability there and he would not be working by himself. So we sold our personal business. So the money that we made from that, we could use to help pay for counseling. And also we took a pay cut. So to help us through in the next few months or years, I guess it takes 3 to 5 years to be clean from all this.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want us to say, I'm really sorry that happened. I'm really sorry you went through that. And that's really, really emotional to take on, in addition with trying to deal with the tactical. So, Rachel and I will definitely help you process the tactical of the money. But I'm just so glad you guys are in counseling, because that is just going to be so great to have a professional in your corner to help you process that as you're going through that.
Yeah. And Becky, we will say a lot on this show that when something kind of tragic happens, just to pause, that you're good. Just take a deep breath. And, a lot of times when there's grief involved and there's and there will be grief with this situation. When you're 6 weeks out, it's still really new.
It is.
This wasn't 6 months ago or 6 years ago. I mean, this just came out last month, right? So, So I would say, you guys you're on the financial side, you're in a good shape, right? You guys don't have debt. Yeah, you've taken a pay cut. Your lifestyle may look a little different, but I wouldn't make any. I know you guys sold the business to get him in a position with accountability and all of that, and I think that's a smart move on just you guys and how you're going to function going forward. But I wouldn't do anything rash. I wouldn't make any big decisions right now, because there still is a lot of pain. And so I think for you all, just the the budget's probably going to look different because of the pay cut. And so I think re-looking at not trying to keep the same lifestyle. And so when you asked about stop investing and all of that, I would do what I can to and again, it's going to be hard because it's going to look different. Your lifestyle will look different. But try to live within that new income is going to be the best thing going forward versus taking money out of an emergency fund or stopping investing to keep the same lifestyle that you guys were living 6 months ago. It's just you're in a different spot. So I would do what I can to live off of that new income that he has, create a budget around that. And even if you guys can't, for some reason, make bills on that, but you should be able.
What is it, Becky? I don't know if she said that. What is the income? The new income?
The new income. I'm trying to think. Anywhere from would it be 80, around 80, 50 to 80, something like that. So it's his first. He just got his first paycheck. It was $2,200 for 2 weeks. So whatever that would be annually, a ton.
Okay.
20-something. I didn't do the math, but yeah.
So if you're debt free, I'm just curious. I'm not great at mental math on the spot, but if you're completely debt free, why do you feel like that you couldn't live on that? That you'd have to dip into savings or stop your investing for that? Why wouldn't you be able to live on that? Is it your house?
No, the one thing. So because we had inconsistent income before, we try to do our budget a month before. So like what he gets from October, we'll use for the November budget. So we're working ahead. And the thing is we tried to do a month budget off of the 2-week paycheck, and I was like, okay, we need to move money over, and he was not okay with that. He's more like he likes to pinch his pennies, and I'm like, no, we don't need to. We have so much saved up in our retirements or in our business accounts. Like, we don't have to pinch our pennies right now. He's been very controlling, which makes me angry.
Yeah. What? I hear that in your voice, Becky. Is that something you're working through with your counselor? Because that's a strong word. That can be.
Yeah, it just came up. So I haven't been. I've been trying to, but
it's painful.
Do you ever talk to your counselor, just you, without him present?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are you honest with your counselor about what's going on?
Yes. Yeah. I guess this financial thing never came up before because this was our first budget meeting. So,
yeah.
And
well,
I was just really triggered, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
for sure. Do you think as of now, and it's 6 weeks after I know that you found out, but you're working to stay together, and you think that do you see hope in that?
Yeah, we both want that.
Okay.
Okay. And I am seeing a change in him, so
yeah,
he wants to change.
Okay.
So that's one thing. I even thought about creating the budget myself instead of because of his bad decisions he made. He was spending money on unreported side jobs. So,
yeah.
Using cash in that way for, I was like, I can't trust him with the finances right now. So that would be my thing.
Yeah, which is legitimate, Becky. Yeah, that's legitimate. Yep. When there's deceit and lying, that's where that goes. So, and do you work outside the home?
I do not. I'm a stay-at-home mom right now.
Okay. Okay. Let me answer a tactical question for you, just so when we get off the phone, you have something to think about. So when you're saying that you guys have never budgeted before, just know that it is always tough. Okay. So you guys running into these kind of conversations and all of that, affair or not, is very normal. So just hear that. Give yourself a lot of grace. So the first few months of this is going to be difficult. And number two, the 2-week paycheck is difficult too to budget, because what you're saying is the money that happened from the last paycheck is what you're using for this and all that. So in an ideal world, and especially since you guys are debt free, to have enough money in the checking account that can help you pay for a month's worth of bills on a tactical level is going to help. So if you need to pull that month from your emergency fund to be able to physically pay the bills, and then as the paycheck comes in for the 15th, you're going to use that 15th and then the 30th paycheck for the next month. Does that make sense? Yes, you're going to still budget every dollar, but the actual cash flow can go. So for him, pinching the pennies and all that, you guys just need money in your checking account to help get this budget flowing. So you can do that. I'm all for that. And for you guys, again, getting a budget together, I think is for sure in a perfect world, but there's a lot of pain, Becky. So I just want you to have a lot of grace for yourself. And if you guys can't get to this for another 2 or 3 or 4 months, it's okay. Your marriage is important right now. And yes, money is a big component of that. And I want that to get together, but I want you guys to heal from your marriage, which is going to help heal from the trust with the money as well.
And bring that up with your counselor. Bring the budget conversations as an example of the conflict or control to your counselor and help them work through that and dig to the deeper issues. They're great at that. That's what they do. Thanks for calling. I hope that encourages you and helps you get through this tough time. I want to thank producers James Child, associate producer Jenna Coletta, my co-host Rachel Cruz, and you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Did you know you can listen to The Ramsey Show on your smart speaker? Just tell Alexa, Google Assistant, or Siri to play The Ramsey Show podcast. Check out all Ramsey Network shows on your smart speaker today.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is my good friend, fellow Ramsey personality, Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls and answering your questions. We love talking to you. We love hearing your stories. And y'all know we love giving advice. So if you've got a question about money and you're not sure what to do next, how to work the baby steps, what about a specific situation with your money, Rachel is here. I'll jump in. Of course, if you have a question about how to have more time, reach your goals, start a side business or small business, or maybe grow your business, really whatever you want to talk about, we're here for you. 888-825-5225. And we are going to kick this off with Rachel in Milwaukee. Hey, Rachel, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. What's going on?
So my husband and I have kind of been wrestling with a decision. We've been married for about 2 years now and are starting to think about the timing of when we want to start a family. So I know this decision, is going to have a big impact on our lives, and I'm the nerd, and I want to consider all of the factors that kind of go into that. So I know you two are, proud mamas, and I was just hoping you might be able to shed a little light on how we might go about this.
That's so great. Well, yeah. I have my knee-jerk answer.
I know what it is. Go on.
I mean, Rachel, start a family when you want to start a family. I don't think you have to be in a certain place financially. I mean, obviously, if you guys have stable careers and no debt, there's obviously financial life situations that will make it less stressful, but I don't think that any of those need to stop you from having a baby. I think these life decisions, whether it's getting married, starting a family, it needs to come from you guys and when you guys are ready. So that's my gotcha. we can dig into it more, but that's my just blanket answer.
And because, Rachel, because you're the nerd, admittedly, you said it, not me, because you're the nerd.
You, Rachel, not this Rachel. I'm a free spirit.
No.
You take the nerd, Rachel.
You're talking to two free spirits here. So we're like, it's great. Go ahead. Do the thing. But for you, I'm sure it feels intimidating, like, it's going to add so much money. And the reality is a baby, as wonderful as this is something that when you have a baby, you just begin to put line items in the budget for that baby's needs. And And so whether it's diapers or whatever, that just becomes a new line item that is either increased from like household expenses, however you name it, or a new line item that is not there currently. And you just begin to plan for that. So for you, is there something specific about your financial situation that you feel like is kind of a hang up for you? Or is it just the unknown of how much that's going to cost of actually having a child?
Yeah, I think it's actually not so much the financial part. We don't have any debt, but we have recently gone through some career transitions, my husband and I am working on wrapping up an online master's program in the spring. So it's just kind of, do we, go ahead and just go with it, or do we kind of, plan it very strategically?
What do you want? What do you want to do? Do you want to finish your master's and all of that and start a family in 12 months? Do you want to start next month? When do you want to have a baby?
I can't decide. Some days I'm like, okay.
She's like, that's what I called you to.
Some days I'm like, let's go.
Honestly, Rachel, it really is. I don't want to be a broken record on this call, but it really is when you and your husband are like, okay, and let me say this too. You're never going to actually feel like, oh, we're for sure ready.
That's a fact.
Like there's always going to be something. Oh, we didn't travel to this place, or we didn't make this amount of money, or we need there's always going to be something out there. Now, is there a common sense factor of this that maybe you want to finish your master's before, you have a bit? Sure, that's great. You've been working a master's plan, and if you're like, yeah, the timeline, I'd rather get that done and out of my, get that out of the way and all. I don't know. It's going to really have to be something that you guys are to the point that you're like, we're ready.
Well, and the other piece of this, which I think is just everyone listening to this understands intuitively, but is important to say out loud, is you can't fully control it.
That's true.
And so you've got to be ready whenever you guys are ready, in case it comes easy for you. And you've also got to understand that it may not. It may take 6 months, a year, longer. And so there is an element of this of, yes, you can plan as much as you want to plan, as the nerd, as the planner, the masters, consider all the things, and still know there's a piece of this that you're holding with open hands and trusting and knowing that you're going to control what you can and trust with what you can't control. So I know that this is probably not the answer you wanted, Rachel, but it is such a personal decision. And if anything, I hope we just encouraged you that it's not a financial decision. It's a personal decision, and it's something you pray about. If you're a person of faith, you talk to your spouse about, and you guys make the best decision you can with the information that you have. But I love what Rachel said, that is absolutely so true. You're never fully ready. There's never this moment. It's like, yes, I'm ready. I totally know what to expect. I have got it. That probably doesn't come. So you just make the best decision with the information that you have. All right. Going to go to Josh in Spokane, Washington. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. So my question is, I'm saving up. I'm still in debt with my mortgage, about $130,000, and so I saved up. I actually have about $110 right now. It's all in one bank account, and so my wife's telling me, there's some bank. There's probably not the best decision to have it all in one spot. I wanted just to ask you that.
For like a investment purpose or for a safety purpose, like what makes you think not?
It's really just there, once the money's there to pay off the mortgage, and to do that, and basically her rationale is too much cash to have in one bank account. Would you have any suggestions on how to spread that out a little bit?
So I just want to recap something and clarify something. So you have $140,000 that you owe in your mortgage, and you have $110,000.
130, but yeah, and I have about 110 saved up to pay off that mortgage.
Okay, what have y'all been waiting on in terms of putting that large amount of money that you have on the mortgage? Why are you waiting to do it all at one time?
Well, just so we refinanced here about a year and a half ago, and then just to have a little bit of a safety net, not to put all of that on the mortgage at one time, because we continue to make mortgage payments.
Right. Well, not all of it, but like, I don't know, 70, 80, like just to put a big chunk on it to bring down your balance, your interest, everything while you're in the process. I mean, you guys are so close to the finish line, it's irrelevant now, but I was just curious if there's a reason to wait to do it all at once.
Well, there was some discussion at one point as far as selling the house here recently, and so that never transpired. But either way, the money's still there.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, make sure that you have an emergency fund. You guys need like 6 months set aside out of that 110 if you don't already, and that's kind of your cushion. That's your safety net, and then throw everything else, at the mortgage. You got cash there.
Yeah,
put it at the principal,
and it's in a savings account because it's accessible. It doesn't need to be spread anywhere else because we just need to access it in order to make that payment when you're ready to. So savings is fine for now.
And don't invest it. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. Great job. This is the Ramsey Show.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
We've heard all the excuses people use to put off making a will. You're busy, it's confusing, it's expensive, it's morbid, and makes you uncomfortable. Well, our Ramsey Solutions research team found that 74% of parents don't have a will. Guys, this is too important. You need a will to protect your family, even if it's uncomfortable for you to do it. Stop putting it off and get it done. Start with our free will preparation checklist. This guide helps you think through 7 important areas like naming guardians and beneficiaries, plus all the little things you haven't thought of, maybe didn't want to think of. That's all right. You still need to think about it. Once you've gone over the checklist, you can actually get it taken care of in about 10 or 15 minutes with our Ramsey trusted online will provider. That's all it takes. 10 or 15 minutes, y'all. You can do this. Get the guide by texting WILL to 33789. That's WILL to 33789. Give your family peace of mind by getting yourself a will. And I'll add, if you haven't updated your will since a major life change or just in a really long time, revisit it. This is a great gift to your family and just for your own peace of mind. So that's WILL to 33789. Text WILL, WILL, to 33789. I'm Christy Wright, author of the new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, that just launched a couple weeks ago.
How's it going? How does it feel? How does it feel? It's out in the world.
It's so fun to hear the feedback.
Yes.
Because you know this, anytime you put something out there in the world, you're like, I hope they like it. I hope it works. It's like
hope it helps them.
You pour your heart into it. Our editing team makes it, better and fixes all the grammar and punctuation, but you don't know until it's in someone's hands. And it has done so well. It actually hit the bestseller list 2 weeks in a row, which is huge. And then you're hearing this feedback of people going, I've never heard of life balance talked about this way. This didn't just give me my time back, it gave my power back. And so it's been really fun to hear it's actually helping people, which, by the way, is exactly why we do what we do. We want to help you, whether it's with your money or your time or your career or anything. We just want to help you guys. We want to give you the inspiration to help you believe you can do it and change your life, because you can. And we want to give you the instruction, the step-by-step plan that will show you how to do it. That's what we are about here at Ramsey Solutions as Ramsey personalities, regardless of our message, regardless of the topic, that's what we want to help you do. We want you to have the information and the inspiration to help you change your life, because, by the way, you can. We're taking your calls for a little bit longer, 888-825-5225. If you want to call in for Rachel or myself, we are here for you. All right, we're going to go to Rebecca in LA. Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Hi, I am good. Thank you.
Sure. What's going on?
So I'm struggling with a career choice I had made, and now I'm not sure what to do next. I felt led to leadership. I work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. And I talked a lot about this with my boss, my husband, before I did it. And so when the opportunity came, I took a nursing leadership position in my organization. And it's been so hard through the pandemic. And now I don't know if what I'm experiencing is healthy striving and growing pains with this new position, or if I am overworked and just stressed out and can't handle if this is not the right fit for me. So that's my first question. And then also, I already know I can't stay where I'm at, but I don't know if I should find leadership in a new way, or if I should go back to, bedside caregiving.
Yeah. Well, in relation to the first part of your question, that is hard to discern that. It's hard to discern, do I not like it because it's different and not for me? Or do I not like it because this is the season in healthcare?
We're in a pandemic and I'm in nursing leadership. I'm like, oh, Rebecca.
Right.
It is so, it's hard.
I don't know how much of that you can tease out. And the other piece of it is, there are things that are specific to the pandemic, but I would say that they're in any industry, but especially healthcare, there are things that are specific to the pandemic, but that won't go back to normal. There are things that have become new rhythms that will be forever changed because of the pandemic. So I think that is really hard to tease out. The first question that came to mind as we dig into this with you is, do you miss regular nursing? Do you miss bedside? Do you miss being with patients? As you think about this, as you think about leadership versus bedside care, do you miss the regular nursing aspect of your job?
Yeah, I do. I think that'll always be my first love, no matter what I decide.
Yeah. Let's go back to when you decided to take this leadership role. And there's no wrong answer here. I just want to get to the root of it. Some people take leadership positions because it feels like the next logical step, because they feel like they're supposed to, because they feel like they're supposed to want it, because there's more pay possibly involved. When you think about why you took that, what was the real motivator for taking that new role?
Yeah, it definitely didn't have anything to do with pay. Leadership suited me a lot in my young adulthood and everything, and it found me here as well. And something that my boss and I started talking about, years before it came up as an opportunity, and even me and my husband talked about it quite a bit. I love people. I love precepting, so I love teaching, and I love, helping other people learn and to be the best nurse that they can be. At the same time, around the same time when I had decided to do this, there was one of our pastors began talking about leadership as servanthood, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to, so anyways, it felt like the right thing to do for a lot of different reasons.
The things that you just described, do you get to do that in your current role?
So I think that's what I'm struggling with, is a lot of what I do right now is very task oriented, and I know they're important, but I feel like I'm not doing the things that I thought I would be doing in leadership. And I don't know if it's just me, like I said, teasing out what, expectations versus reality, or if this is just not a good fit for me.
And you said already that you don't want to stay where you are. Like, you're already committed to looking for something somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this last experience, pandemic aside, this last experience has taught you a lot about yourself, of what you love. I love how you were able to articulate to Rachel and I love people. I love teaching. These are the things that make me light up and come alive. This is what I'm good at. This is what I get excited about. So when you move, because it sounds like you've already decided to move companies, move, hospitals or wherever you're going to practice this, I think you begin to really look for those specific things because you know that now. You know that every leadership title does not involve what you thought it did, and you can begin to look for that.
Yeah, and sometimes, Rebecca, not always, and this may not be the case for you, but we do find when you are really good at a skill, right? So a nurse for you, or someone is a writer, a really great writer, or, you can fill it in. And when you're really good at it, obviously other people notice that and they think, oh, you're really good. You should automatically go into leadership. And again, sometimes that is the right move. And the things you described, I think there are leadership positions I would hope that you can do those things and still be a leader because all of that. But sometimes as well, it kind of goes like, no, but I love to be a nurse. Mm-hmm. Or I just love to write. I want to go back to writing. I don't want to go back to managing people over a writing department at a company or something, So I think that asking yourself those questions too, which I think you were at the beginning of the call, but just to kind of figure out, okay, would I rather just go back to what I love, being a nurse, and doing that job just really well? Or is there a leadership position where you still get that fulfillment of your skill that you're really good at, with in addition to helping people learn, taking other people to the next level and all of that?
Yeah, I think when you begin this search, Rebecca, because it sounds like you're already on it, maybe just add to your tool belt some questions when you're interviewing and say, what does the typical day look like for this position?
Yeah.
What are the typical day-to-day activities? And really get to not just the job posting, what they say it is, but what really goes on. What's the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day activities? And then you'll get hopefully a more accurate picture of if that's in line with what you love and if it's not. And that's just going to help you sift through this next move that you're committed to make, even if it takes a little bit more time to find the right thing. But I think you can do it. I think you will. Thanks for calling, Rebecca. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Joining me today is my good friend Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls about anything and everything. 888-825-5225, and we're going to go to Rebecca in Honolulu, Hawaii. Rebecca, how's the weather in Hawaii?
Oh, it's beautiful, Rachel and Christy. Thanks for taking my call.
Need to come visit you there. What's going on? How can we help?
Sure. I have a question about the zero credit score. So my husband and I are in baby steps 4, 5, and 6. We are both dual active duty military. I am looking to retire in 1 year, and he's about 2.5 years. He'll retire as well. And we're going to look to buy a house at that time. So with our credit, we did have a home in Virginia before coming to Honolulu, and we sold that recently. And so our credit score was always good because of the mortgage, right? But with that off, it's obviously dropping, but I have one credit card left open on my account. Our bank requires a line of credit to do mobile deposits. And so I have that open so that I can do that. It hasn't been used in years. But if we're looking to buy a home in probably 2.5, 3 years, we either need to have a credit score that will get us a loan or have a zero credit score
so that we can get manually underwritten. And I'm not sure how long it takes to get to that zero. So, I mean, at this point, I believe we could cancel that credit card. We're in a strong enough financial situation that the mobile depositing, while it's convenient, isn't a necessity.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how long that process takes. I don't want to put us in a situation where we go to buy a home and our scores only fall into like 400.
Yeah. No. It's a great question.
And then we're stuck.
No, for sure. Well, it will never go to, and it doesn't even really go to zero. It goes to what's called undetermined is what it is. So it will go to undetermined when you have all accounts closed and all debt is paid, everything.
Correct.
For 6 to 12 months is kind of the estimate, but with FICO, we don't know their algorithm specifically, but that's kind of on average of what we're seeing is 6 to 12 months. But you keeping that credit card open, that is an open account, so it will never fall to undetermined. So you have to get rid of that. So whether it's switching banks or like you said, you can take on that for the mobile deposit, all of it, whatever it is, you got to get rid of that. And so after that is closed, then it should take another 6 to 12 months to fall to undetermined.
Okay,
because
that was my concern, is the amount of time I have to close it and then we're ready to buy, and it took years versus,
Right.
a year.
And again, that's on average, but I'll say with the asterisk that, again, FICO, we don't have their specific formula, their specific algorithm and everything on when that starts to fall and when that actually does become undetermined. But on average, that is what we're seeing. But it's a great question because people listening who are getting out of debt, that's one reason we do say you don't need to buy a house when you have debts. And part of that is because as you're paying off your debt, what you've experienced is that your credit score starts to go down because everything mathematically that creates your credit scores, everything from the new type of debt you have, the types of debts to, there's about 7 categories there that calculate your credit score. And when you don't interact with debt, it starts to go down. So it's a great question and one that we get a lot, but I would close that credit card account, get it to undetermined, then you guys can manually underwrite that mortgage in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and it sounds like with the time frame that you're talking about this even for next year being the soonest, sounds like that will still work for you. And great job on being debt free. So
yes,
well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for your service. All right, Sheena's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Sheena, how are you?
Hey, ladies, I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
Sheena, we've talked before, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And I
you were on my show, the Rachel Cruz Show. You were a guest on one of the Ask Rachel episodes. So I'm so glad to talk to you again.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm so excited to talk to you too. Well, as you know, I drive a lot for work, and I typically stop at gas stations along the interstate. And because of COVID and everything, I've been trying not to use cash and go in physically to the gas station. So instead I've been, use my Visa debit card out at the pumps. But it's been scanned now probably 3 or 4 times in the last year. Oh. So I'm, facing charges that I didn't do and things like that. And so it's the companies have been great, and they say, well, okay, yes, they came out of your cash, but we've closed that, and we'll refund you. But my biggest question is, what's the safest way to buy cash during these COVID times? I used to use the cash and go into the store, but again, with the Delta variant and everything, I'm trying to limit my exposure, I guess, being 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what's the safest way to buy gas.
Yeah. And I would say, my answer is still a debit card. That's the only way I've bought gas for probably 10 years. I probably have not walked into a gas station with an actual envelope of cash. Even when we do the envelope system, we tell people, hey, there may be categories that you don't cash out for convenience purposes, like gas, right? When you're at the pump, you can just do your debit card. So I'm so interested that it got that. It does. There are tracker, there is fraud, and gas stations is a place that gets hit a lot. But I'm surprised it's been so often. Are you using the same company, like the same gas brand?
No, so so that's the thing, is that I've switched it up because thinking same thing. Okay, well, if that gas station's been compromised, well, then I'll try a different one.
Yeah.
And so I even wrote down, with my husband, who actually does fraud for a living as a detective, and we kind of went through and said, okay, well, it can't be the Costco's because we always stop there, and that's kind of new within the last little bit. So it's got to be, this one or this one, but these ones are new within the last 2 months. So we're just trying to kind of figure out, okay, where not to stop. But again, I have to stop. So just trying to figure out what the safest way to do this is. Is it going to be cash only?
Well, and the same thing but the same program that when they do fraud would take a credit card as well. Now, so even if you were doing a credit card, I mean, it's the same thing now. When you have a debit card, you still have the same protection. So the fees and stuff you shouldn't have to be paying those. That should be protected by whatever company's there on your debit card, whether it's Visa or MasterCard.
Yes. So the only fees that they've been charging me is to expedite the new card in the mail.
Oh, okay. Okay. I hear you.
And it's just a headache, Sheena. It's just inconvenient. This is annoying. That it keeps happening. I'm so sorry. That's so weird. Is it all in, when you say you drive a lot, is it all in Charlotte or do you drive out of town?
I drive out of town a lot, all over North and South Carolina.
And it happens anywhere you go. It's not like just a particular city.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Commonly between Charlotte and Charleston, South Carolina, is what I've been noticing.
I hate to say it, I don't really know what to tell you. Yeah, I've been doing debit card at a gas pump for 10 years, and I've one time it happens. Yeah, so
it's happened to me one time too, Sheena. I think it's super odd. It's probably, part of it I'm sure is just the frequency with which you are traveling and getting gas. So naturally you're going to fill up more than someone else does. So the chances of it happening are greater. If you want to wear a mask or a couple masks and go inside, if that would give you peace of mind to not worry about it getting skimmed, you can do that. But I don't think there are any variables at play that are in your control. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't look at the pump and know if it's going to happen, and you can't control the creeps that are out there doing it, and you've got to get gas. And so all you can do is control what you can, which is either put on a mask and go inside and pay cash, or just deal with the crap when it happens, which I hate that's happening so frequently to you because you've got to be on the phone and press 1, press 5, press 0, wait for a representative. Oh, it happened again,
So it is annoying. It takes so much time. It's so frustrating.
So I'm so sorry that happened. I don't think there's anything outside of what you're doing that you could do more of. But hopefully they get on top of it, and it's something that just stops because they catch the people and it stops happening. So sorry that's happening. It's one of those things. It's like there's just stuff in life that we can plan and plan and plan, and crap just happens.
I know.
You know what I mean? There's still going to be something. You're going to get a flat tire. Someone's going to skim your debit card. Yep. Something's going to go wrong. So
the inconvenience of it all.
Hate that for you, Sheena. But hopefully it'll stop happening soon, and you can just get on the road and not have to worry about it.
That's right.
This is The Ramsey Show. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Zig Ziglar said, fear has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. I love that there's such a theme in our calls today, just injecting hope in people that feel hopeless. And I love those reminders from the scripture, Philippians 4:13, and the quote from Zig Ziglar. Well, the last 18 months have been a lot. You know it, I know it. A lot of worry, a lot of wondering what would happen next. Maybe that's how you feel about your money too. Tired, stuck, stretched thin. But it doesn't have to be that way. You just need a plan. We've been talking about this all day today, because a plan gives you confidence even when everything else seems out of control. And that plan is Financial Peace University. This class will teach you everything you need to know to save money, pay off debt, and build wealth for the future. You can stream the lessons on your own or get support by going through the class with others. Then you'll put that plan into practice with the premium version of our Every Dollar budgeting app. By syncing your bank to your budget, you can easily track your spending and see where your money goes. You get all this only with a Ramsey Plus membership. You don't have to stay exhausted and overwhelmed. You can win with money. To start your free trial of Ramsey Plus, text TRIAL to 33789. That's trial to 33789. Rachel Cruz and I are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. And we're going to go to Kansas City with Lacey. Hey, Lacey, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks so much. I'm so glad it's you two ladies today. Perfect for my question.
I love it. Let's have it.
Okay. So I am a mom of 3 small children. I have been in and out of college, changing my mind for what seems, almost 10 years now. I think I finally settled on what I want to do, like a dream. But, I don't know if it's, to quote you, right now.
There you go.
I want to be home with my kids, and anything I can do with this, short of starting my own business, would keep me away from them a lot. And and the degrees I'm chasing aren't extremely relevant to what I want to do. And schools that have the degree I want are in other states. And I'm tired of working, like waitressing jobs when I need, to support my family. I need to, grow the family tree, change the legacy, etc.
Yeah. Well, I've got a few follow-up questions as Rachel and I dig into this. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your household income?
Around $40,000.
Okay. So when you said you finally settled on your dream job, I think is the way that you said it, or your dream path, what is that?
Ethology. I want to study animal behavior, maybe be, a more tame version would be like a pet psychologist, and the more wild version would be, the people that are on National Geographic and follow the cheetahs around and why did they do that kind of deal.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, Lacey, I'll start with this, and I think that this has relevance to what you're saying. One of the things that I think feels very overwhelming to people, not just women, but specifically in your shoes of being a mom of 3 littles, is when we try to do everything at once. And in the same breath, you said, I have my dream to, chase tigers on National Geographic. Also, I want to be with my kids pretty much 24/7. So I'm like, Lacey, 2 of these things don't go together. So, chasing kids is kind of like chasing tigers in the wild. But I think we might need to choose the seasonality of your dreams. And it's not that you can't, literally to quote my book, just because something's not right now doesn't mean it's never right. Doesn't mean you can never do that. But I think it does come down to prioritizing what's right now. What is A1 right now? Because you're going to feel the most sense of peace when you do what's right now. And if that's being there for your kids and being super involved in their lives, being there for field trips, being there for that kind of stuff. And to your point, either taking a part-time from home job that's pretty flexible, or starting your business from home where you get to set your hours to make that number one priority of being there for your kids possible. Or if it looks a different way, I think that you're going to feel the most contentment and purpose and peace when you do the thing that's most important. And then maybe pursue that in another season. Now, if you want to pursue that now because you're saying this is most important to me, you can do that. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I just want to echo what you said to me about the kids, because that plays into the timing of some of these career decisions.
How old are your kids, Lacey?
5, 2, and 7 months.
Oh, so you got
Lacey, you're in the trenches with us too. We're all tired. Let's just talk about it. You were in the trenches.
Girl, I feel you. You have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah. So, I think what Christy said though is spot on. It's a question that you can only ask yourself or answer yourself is what do you want to do? Do you want to be home with the kids more and more. And that's an okay answer. You know, I mean, 40 grand. It's like, yeah, maybe you can find something on the side a little bit to bring in some extra cash if you guys want to, depending on where you are in the baby steps and your needs and your wants, all of it. Or, yeah, is there a thing out there that you're like, no, it's going to take time to get, whether it's the education or to get qualified, and then actually doing the job, that's going to be time away from the kids. That's just, we can only be in one place at once, right? So that's going to have to be an answer that you come up with.
Well, I wonder if there's a piece of it too. I love helping people come up with a almost like an interim solution. So sometimes when we think of our dream, we think of this big, like, you know, the Cadillac version of our idea. I'm like, is there a baby version of our idea, like a starter version of our idea, where sure, you're not chasing tigers on National Geographic, but maybe you start a side gig, pet sitting, or dog walking, or just something to engage your love of animals, which I know, I understand. Walking a dog is not the same as chasing a tiger. I get that. But I'm just saying, it could create income. You could set your hours, and it could engage that part of you that loves animals in a creative way. That's one way to do it. There's multiple ways for you to do it. I just want to challenge you to think of, what could that look like in this season? How could you engage your love of animals, of the wild, of, you know, nature, whatever, in this season in a way that brings in extra income for your family, if that's what you want to do, and still allows you to be present in this season. So I think, just like Rachel said, I think it's a question only you can answer. But if you'll stay on the line, I will have Jenna send you a live stream ticket to our Business Boutique event. You can join us next week. It's October 14th through the 16th. It's here in Nashville, but we're live streaming the whole thing. And what you can do is you can tune in and watch those sessions. It may help you think of a business idea, may just encourage you in this season of helping you discern what's right for you. And you can watch that, and hopefully that'll help maybe bring some clarity to that. But it really is a question only you can answer. And Rachel, one of the things that's interesting about some of the calls that we get, some of the calls we get on the show is are black and white. Yes, you should do this. No, you should not do that. That is a bad idea. This is a good idea, and so on. Some of them, like a couple we've had today, are more values calls. They're more, what do you want to do? What's right for you? And no one can tell you. And I think we really get ourselves in trouble when maybe we listen to someone else's advice. Someone said, hey, you have to go back to school, or you have to pursue this degree, or you have to live your life this way, and it's not right for us. And so even well-meaning people can maybe steer you in the wrong direction. And so that's why we want to turn it back on you.
Yeah, and Lacey, I would get with your husband as well. You guys talk about it, and because there's also, I think, a benefit, especially with a spouse, because they know you better than anyone. He can call out the things that he sees in you. Hey, I do see you light up in X, Y, and Z. Or, hey, I feel the stress, the tension more and more when X, Y, and Z happens. Like have him be a sounding board as well in this process, and he can really help you navigate. I think spouses, there's a gift in that.
Yes.
As well.
To come up with the best decision.
Yes.
For
Christy.
your whole family. So fun.
It's so fun with you today.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Her little kids are out there. You can't see them because we're on a podcast. They're running around ready for Mom of the Weekend. It's awesome.
It's Fun Friday. All right, we want to thank producer James Child, associate producer Jenna Coletta, my co-host Rachel Cruz, and you, America, for tuning in. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.